A new surface clip, like, 20 years of 9/11 research, and I've never seen this clip, but this is amazing. An Israeli interviewed on 9/11. You can just tell, this is 9/11, everybody's in the streets. The Israeli, look at her facial expressions talking about this terrorist attack. She can't even hold back the smiles. We're going to play what she says in a second, but just look at the facial expression. She can't even control her micro expressions. The Israeli in New York on 9/11. She says the same thing that the dancing Israelis say, like, now you understand why they supposedly were high-fiving and dancing and celebrating, was because, now the Americans will know what we put up with the terrorist Muslims.
With the kind of people that we're dealing with. Well, big catastrophe, and I'm Israeli. And I hope that now people understand what we have to deal with, the kind of people that we're dealing with on a day-to-day basis. It's just a catastrophe.
This one.
It's a big catastrophe.
She's literally like can't hold back her smile as she says it's a big catastrophe. She's happy. She's
new nuclear deal, and some people are not happy about that. They include Fox News host, neocon pundit Mark Levin, who apparently visited the White House the other day to try to lobby Trump against reaching an agreement with Iran, because of course Israel doesn't want that. And one person to sound the alarm about what Mark Levin and other neocons are up to and trying to sabotage these Iran talks is Tucker Carlson, the former Fox News host. This is what he wrote the other day. Mark Levin was at the White House lobbying for war with Iran. To be clear, Levin has no plans to fight in this or any other war. He's demanding that American troops do it. We need to stop Iran from building nuclear weapons. He and like-minded ideologues in Washington are now arguing. They're just weeks away. If this sounds familiar, it's because the same people have been making the same claims since at least the 1990s. It's a lie. In fact, there is zero credible intelligence that suggests Iran is anywhere near building a bomb or has plans to. None. Anyone who claims otherwise is ignorant or dishonest. If the U.S. government knew Iran was weeks away from possessing a nuclear weapon, we'd be at war already. So that's Tucker Carlson pushing back against the warmongers in Trump's circle who want to sabotage the current talks with Iran on a new nuclear deal. But Mark Levin and other Republican neocons are not alone. They also have assistance from Democrats, including the leading Democrat in the Senate, Chuck Schumer.
To negotiating with the terrorist government of Iran. Trump's all over the lot. One day he sounds tough, the next day he's backing off. And now, all of a sudden, we find out that Witkoff and Rubio are negotiating a secret side deal with Iran. What kind of bull is this? They're going to sound tough in public and then have a side deal that lets Iran get away with everything? That's outrageous. We need to make that side deal public. Any side deal should be before Congress and, most importantly, the American people. If Taco Trump is already folding, the American public should know about it. No side deals.
Does he think people know Taco Trump is some stock market talk? Does he thinks people know that? That's what that is, some Wall Street bullshit talk.
Taco
right?
Trump is Democrats' acronym for Trump always chickens out. So they're basically, but they want him to not negotiate a nuclear deal with Iran, which, by the way, is what Obama did. That was like Obama's signature foreign policy achievement before Trump killed it. And now, basically, rather than defending the Obama policy, they want to continue the first Trump term policy of not having a nuclear deal with Iran. That's Chuck Schumer. Now, in fairness to the Democrats, Chuck Schumer was against the Obama deal back then. He's still against it now because he serves Israel. That's what he cares about. Look, right there, there's the AIPAC tracker noting that Chuck Schumer's received more than $1.7 million from the pro-Israel lobby over the course of his career. And he's not the only Democrat pushing against a new nuclear deal with Iran. This is from Just Foreign Policy. A group of extreme pro-Israel House Democrats have joined on to Chuck Schumer's call for no nuclear deal with Iran. And they're endorsing the neocon line, which is that Iran cannot enrich any uranium whatsoever, which they were allowed to do under the initial Iran nuclear deal. And they're insisting on having the right to do now. But these neocons on both the Republican side and the Democratic side, including Chuck Schumer and these House Democrats, are saying no enrichment whatsoever. And here's some of them. Dan Goldman's in there. Debbie Wasserman Schultz is in there. Ted Lieu is in there. There's Ted Lieu. So these are the people on both sides of the aisle joining together, joining hands to say, let's not have a nuclear deal with Iran, which means let's have a regime change war with Iran, because that's what Israel wants.
Oh, you don't say. It's so, I love the add-ons like before, like, do you recognize Israel's right to exist? That's, I remember them always saying that. Okay. I guess Hamas did that in 2016, as we know. All of a sudden, this new line, as a Jewish state, they throw in a new line out of nowhere. That's this Iran deal. They can't have weapons. Okay. Or they can't enrich any uranium. They just keep adding things on to create the situation they want.
That's exactly right. That's why the whole concept of Israel's right to exist was invented. It was to make sure that there would never be peace. Because if you're Palestinians, their leadership, starting with the PLO and then Hamas years later, they recognized that their best chances for peace would be to accept the Palestinian state, which means accepting also Israel. And after they started doing that, that's when Israel started saying, okay, not only do you have to just accept a Palestinian state and just 22% of your stolen homeland, you also have to recognize our right to exist on your stolen land. And if someone steals your land and then says, we are going to make ourselves the privileged residents of this land that we stole from you, who's going to say, yeah, I recognize your right to do that? No one will ever say, I recognize your right to steal my land and grant me lesser rights. They'll say, I recognize that I'm going to have to compromise and accept just 22% of the land you stole from me. But no one's going to say, yeah, I accept your right to do that. And that's why this whole right to exist concept was invented, was to ensure that there would never be peace. So Israel can continue being perpetually at war and perpetually occupying Palestinians. And Chuck Schumer has been a leading campaigner for Israel throughout his career. And he's written a new book recently about supposed anti-Semitism, by which he means